Ever get this feeling like someone's kind of pulling the strings, you know? Like you're going along with their plan and you didn't even realize it.
Oh, absolutely.
Kind of unsettling, right?
Huh.
Well, that might be manipulation at play, and today we're diving deep into that very thing with Arthur Horn's book, Manipulation: Dark Psychology to Manipulate and Control People.
See, what's so fascinating about Horn's take is he kind of throws out that whole stereotype that manipulation's only for, like, masterminds or Bond villains, you know?
Right, it's not all shadowy back rooms and secret handshakes.
Exactly. He says basically manipulation is just intentional influence. We all do it. It's all about trying to, shift somebody's behavior, usually because you want a certain outcome.
So like that coworker who's always really good at getting you to grab them coffee on your break.
Subtle, but yeah, I see where you're going with that.
That's manipulation in action.
In a way, yeah. Although the book, it dives into stuff way beyond those everyday situations. I mean, we're talking advertising, military strategy, even historical events like, get this, the Battle of Hastings.
Hold on, the Battle of Hastings. That's getting pretty intense. What's that got to do with getting someone to, like, do the dishes?
Okay, so it shows how manipulation, it exists on like a spectrum, right? On one side, you've got little nudges, your coffee example.
Yeah.
Then way on the other side, you have these grand schemes of, well, basically deception. Like William the Conqueror, he pretends to retreat, lures the English army into this vulnerable spot. Bam, history's changed.
Okay, now that's just next level. So it's not always about being sneaky. It's more like understanding how to use influence. Which leads me to my next question. What tools are we talking about here? What's in this manipulation toolbox?
Horn, he breaks it down into three main things: power, persuasion, and then there's deception.
Power, persuasion, deception. Sounds kind of intense when you put it like that. I'm guessing it's not as simple as, just flipping a switch.
No, you're right. He goes deep on each one. Like, take power. You might think, oh, it's dominance, right? But Horn, he says it's more about your ability to help others get what they want to reach their goals.
Wait, so being helpful equals power? That feels kind of backwards.
It's about leverage, really. Think of it this way. If you're the only one who gets that new software at work, suddenly you've got something others need. That gives you a certain influence, let's say.
Okay, I'm seeing how that plays into the whole power dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
So where does the whole persuasion part come in?
Persuasion, it's convincing someone to act by appealing to, well, their logic, their emotions, or maybe even their values. It's like making a case, right? Whether it's for a raise or, why your team's a shoo-in for the championship.
Right, building that argument.
Yeah.
Though it's not always about being totally upfront, is it? And I think that's where the whole deception thing comes in.
Exactly.
Let's be real, we've all been there.
Right.
So how does Horn define deception?
He calls it the strategic control of information. Doesn't always mean straight up lying. Sometimes it's about choosing what you reveal and what you, what you keep to yourself to steer things your way.
So like all those perfect Instagram feeds that made you feel like everyone's living their best life except you?
Exactly. Or maybe, strategically leaving out certain details in a job interview to present yourself in a better light. It's knowing that information, it's power, and how to use that to your advantage.
This is already making me rethink so many interactions. Like, we're all in this crazy game of influence without even realizing it.
That's the thing. We are. And to play it well, gotta know the rules, right? One of the big ones Horn digs into is the whole carrot and stick approach.
Oh, classic rewards and punishments. Takes me right back to childhood.
Right. It's everywhere. Parenting, workplaces, relationships, the works. But, as Horn points out, just knowing the tactic, that's not enough.
I'm sensing a story coming on.
You know me too well. He uses this example of a coworker. We'll call him Jeff.
Okay, so Jeff, what's the deal with this coworker? We've all worked with a Jeff, right?
Oh, absolutely. Classic Jeff. So let's say you do Jeff a favor, right? And he's super appreciative, says thanks, the whole bit. So naturally you think, okay, next time I need a hand, Jeff's there. That's the whole carrot idea. But then, he throws you right under the bus to get out of like a tough conversation with another coworker.
Yeah, that's rough.
Right, and Horn's point is, you missed a key thing about Jeff, what really makes him tick, his motivation. See, maybe for Jeff, avoiding conflict, it's way more important than returning favors,
So even if you dangle the right carrot, if you don't get their priorities, it's not going to work. It's more than just like surface level tactics.
Exactly. And that example, it shows how important it is to dig a little deeper, see the bigger picture of someone's motivations.
Okay, now I'm feeling like I need to be a mind reader or something.
It's more about like really observing, understanding how people behave. And the good news is it's something you can totally learn. Horn, he gets into all that, and it's not just carrot and stick stuff. He talks about things like emotional manipulation too.
Emotional manipulation. We've all been on the receiving end of that. Whether it's a guilt trip from family or a friend making you feel bad for saying no, it can be so tricky.
It's wild how often emotional manipulation works by like messing with your sense of reality, you know? Like when someone throws blame around to get out of taking responsibility.
Oh, tell me about it. Like that time I covered for a colleague's mistake and they just like, let me take the fall. So frustrating.
Classic example. Or think about minimization, right? Where someone's like, oh, it's not a big deal, downplaying their actions. Just another way to dodge responsibility, avoid consequences.
So, okay, emotional manipulation, it's powerful, but it always feels, well, manipulative. Is there a way to be influential without, resorting to those tactics?
That's where it gets really interesting. Horn, he has a whole chapter on the ethics of manipulation. It's all about like being mindful of your impact and how your actions affect others, even if you mean well.
So it's not just about getting what you want, it's how you get there.
100%. Horn, he makes it clear, even with the best intentions, you can really mess things up with unintended consequences. It's a tightrope walk between getting results and, well, being a decent human being.
Makes me think of the whole white lies thing. Sometimes, even if you think it's harmless, those little lies, they backfire, you end up losing trust.
Perfect example. Horn really pushes us to think, okay, what's my motivation here? Is there a different way to do this, to reach my goal without all the, the deception or putting pressure on someone? It's about setting those ethical boundaries for yourself.
So like a personal manipulation code of conduct.
Kind of, yeah. Figure out your values, where you draw the line, what are you willing to do to get what you want, and what's the potential cost,
This is giving me a lot to unpack. It's so easy to get caught up in the moment and do things that feel good now but could have like a ripple effect later on.
Oh, for sure. Horn, he really emphasizes self-awareness as the key. Like, you got to know your own buttons, your weaknesses, what drives you, to be smart about how you influence others and how they might be influencing you.
So it all comes back to that idea. Knowledge is power. More you understand about manipulation, better equipped you are to navigate it all.
You got it. And Horn, he lays out this really cool method for like sharpening those manipulation detecting skills. And it all starts with looking inward, analyzing yourself. He suggests like keeping a journal of your actions, thinking about why you made certain choices and whether those choices really worked out for you.
So hold up a mirror to your own behavior. Figure out what makes you tick.
Exactly. You got to become this objective observer of yourself, understand your own impulses, the patterns in how you act.
So basically, once you get how you operate, you can start to see those same patterns in other people. Right. It's like you're learning their playbook.
That's the idea. Horn calls it cold reading. It's like, sizing someone up quickly, their personality, what they want, even their weaknesses. We all do it to some extent, but he gives you techniques to really get it right.
Instead of just going off first impressions or stereotypes, you're looking for like those little hints that show their true colors.
Yeah. It's not just one thing, it's looking at a bunch of behaviors, how they're standing, their tone, even those super quick facial expressions, they give it away, even if their words don't.
Like becoming a human lie detector. Though honestly, I'm probably more interested in spotting manipulation than, becoming some kind of puppet master myself.
And that's the beauty of it. It's not about controlling people, it's about having more control yourself in how you deal with people. Recognizing when someone's trying to influence you and then deciding, okay, how do I want to play this?
So we're not just pawns in this whole influence game. We actually get to choose how we play along.
Exactly. And the more you practice this, the better you'll get at spotting those tactics, from the sneaky stuff to the more in-your-face attempts to, push your buttons.
This has been honestly eye-opening. It's like we've pulled back the curtain on how influence really works.
And it's happening all the time, in our relationships, the media, everywhere. The big takeaway here, knowledge is power, my friend.
You said it. The more you're aware of this stuff, the more power you have to handle it, and to handle it ethically too.
And to wrap things up, gotta remember, influence, it's a tool. Like any tool, can be used in good ways or bad ways. It's on us to decide how we use this understanding of manipulation that we've been talking about.
So listeners, here's your homework. Start paying attention to how influence shows up in your own life. Ask yourself, okay, who's really benefiting here? And am I cool with that? Because understanding the game, that's the first step to winning it. That's it for the deep dive. Catch you next time.